you in here. Lydia Des Dolles, MMA Connect TV, standing side stage or on stage at St Anne's Square in Belfast with Mohammed Shahid. How are you? Good to see you again.
Doing great. It's been long. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years, right?
Super excited, yes.
Yeah, that was great.
Definitely. I mean, we want to make sure that we put on a show here, and Saturday night is going to be even more incredible. I can't wait to see these fans. I'm super excited to bring Brave and give them something that's similar to what we spoke a couple of years ago. I mean, we want to bring here, change the sport of mixed martial art, give them something, give them a value. It's not about taking anything from Belfast. We want to give Brave Combat Federation's here to give, so that's what's important.
Absolutely, and like you said, we did meet a couple of years ago, and we did speak about Brave's plans to come to Ireland and to have this massive scale show. And it took a while, but you guys are here, and I think it's worth the wait, right?
I mean, definitely. I mean, you have to understand the European market. They understand mixed martial art.
Yes.
They have a lot of promotions, and it's mixed martial art today is a little bit confusing. It's a young sport still, and the industry and the business side of it is still confusing for a lot of people. And everybody follows what they see and what they hear, and that's why we follow the media. And it's so important how the media becomes a part of the sport and helps in changing the sport. What we are trying to do is to make sure that when we come into a market like Europe, who has experience of seeing a lot of regional promotions, having some of the big promotions come inside and do one or two events, massive events here. At this point, we want to make sure that when we enter the market, we're not those big promotions that's coming and just making one-time event and going back to get revenue increase for the year, or we're not those regional promotions that are just doing it because they cannot make it at a massive scale. We are the promotion that's coming in, trying to make it a global sport. Our point is very simple. The vision of His Highness is to make sure that we give the opportunity, a global exposure opportunity for the athletes here, the top talents that doesn't get the opportunity are working really hard as any top athletes in the world, and we're here to give them that opportunity and make them superstars around the globe, and that's most important for Brave. And we had to showcase that in the rest of the world, so we've gone to every continent except Africa and Australia now, and that's our next steps. But we want to do that in Middle East, we want to do that in Southeast Asia, we want to do that in North America and South America, and here we are now in Europe, and we want to give that value to the fighters and the MMA fans here.
Absolutely. What do you think separates Brave from all other different MMA promotions that are out there?
I mean, there's a lot of things that separates us because one of the things is people think that we're competing with other promotions, with the top promotions. We're not doing that because I believe, and His Highness believes, that we started this promotion not with mixed martial art. No, it was not a promotion before. It was just a vision. KHK MMA was the vision. And we had Khabib, Frankie, James Gallagher, France Malumbo, a lot of guys, Shorty Torres, in a group of a bunch of fighters. We were not managing them. We were not taking any money from them. The whole vision was to give them a different life and infrastructure that they can be the top athletes in the world. But how can you restrict that to 10 fighters? We want to do that to all the fighters around the world. So what do we do about that? The mixed martial art industry has to change its model of what it is today. Today it's in a promotional model. We've copied that from WWE. We've copied that from boxing. Doesn't matter. We've done so great. There's a lot of promotions we have to give credit to that has taken the sport to where it is today, and it's the fastest growing sport in the world. But now it's time to give them something more. We can't capitalize on that and make sure that it's the fastest growing sport, so let's take all the money out of it. Instead, Brave is looking into creating a new infrastructure that's going to change the sport. By 2020, we want to make sure that it is going to be in a system that is blended with the federations, that is blended with the government, that is blended with nationalizing the sport, and at the same time globalizing it, which gives the national athletes an opportunity to grow from the grassroots level, and at the same time they know that point when they have to go at a global level, and they deserve that opportunity. And it's not the language. They don't have to be speaking English, or they don't have to be speaking Arabic in Middle East, Chinese in China, or Mandarin in China, or any other language. This sport doesn't have language. Mixed martial art is a global sport like football is, or soccer for in USA, but mixed martial art is one of those sports that doesn't have language, and it should be a sport that doesn't have language. Today, we rely on athletes. Promotions rely on athletes to give them value, rather than the promotion thinking we have to give them value. And that's what Brave's vision is, His Highness's vision, and that's why you see us globalizing at a very fast pace. And this is just the beginning. We're giving them what they're familiar with the promotion model, and you will see in 2020 we're going to change that whole all the things together to make sure that there's a grassroots development, there's a nationalization, and there's a globalization, all under one structure, that it becomes like football, NFL, baseball, and athletes, or me, for my children, if they want to be MMA fighters, I don't have to worry about what should I do. Should I make them talk more trash, or should I just think about their talent? I don't have to be confused. I know I have. If I want my kid to be a football player, I know I take him to Arsenal Football Club, Manchester United Football Club, and I know the structure of where he's going to be. We don't have that in mixed martial art, and today we want to build that at an amateur level. It's going great with IMMAF and what they're doing with the amateur federation. We want to do that at a professional level as well, and the combination of working together and synchronizing one one promotion, one person cannot do it.
Yeah.
It's a global sport, and there should be a lot of federations, promotions, and individuals involved in it. And we're trying to bring them all together and make a worldwide ecosystem for mixed martial art, and that is crucial. And that is completely different from what is going on in mixed martial art today.
Yeah.
So if they say we are competing with the promotions, we're like, that's a small-minded thought, you know.
Yeah.
What we are seeing today, where there's the biggest promotions who's making revenue, this is what we are seeing today, and that's not the future of mixed martial art. The future of mixed martial art is so much more bigger, and that's what His Highness is looking forward to.
And I think for us, when we look at Brave, one of the leading kind of points that anyone will take, or the positive attributes of Brave, is that you are a promotion that is after the fighters. You know, the fighters come first, and that comes through in everything that you do, in the promotion, in the way that you sell fights, and that you put on shows. You know, and every fighter that you've had, obviously we have Franz Malambo, and we've so many Irish fighters now that are making their debut for you, and all they've had to say is the experience has been fantastic. We've been looked after. You know, there's nothing that we haven't wanted.
I mean, I feel uncomfortable when the fighters say that we're looked after, because for me it's like going to a company and the boss is telling me that, oh, thank you, you're looking after me. I mean, the boss should look after us, you know. So
Exactly.
so for me, I believe that in our promotion, fighters are our bosses. I mean, they are the product. They're the ones who are making our promotion. It's all about them. So they are our bosses, and we are working for them.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't feel good about it. They should be imposing it on us, and it's our duty to take that on our shoulder, the responsibility on our shoulder, and make sure that the sport is developed. And it cannot develop without this athletes. So if you look at Brave Combat Federation, we focus on the fights, and it's not about the trash talks. It's not about who's more marketable. It's about top fights. Top fighters fight each other, whether it's from Middle East, Asia, Southeast Asia, North America, South America, Brazil, Europe. They all have talents, super talents. We haven't been able to identify it because the biggest issue is that we misunderstand between promotions that have global attention and promotions that are actually global. This misunderstanding is still there today, because there are promotions that is global attention, but are they really global? And that, if you do a little bit of research, you'll understand that they're not global. You look at Middle East and you think that you don't have top fighters in Middle East, and you see in Brave Middle Eastern fighters knocking out ex-fighters of top promotions, and then you're like, what's happening? Southeast Asians, they need to have that opportunity as well. North Americans, South Americans. We cannot restrict the talent with language or marketability. So I think we focus on best fights. I think that's one of the interesting things I heard once upon a time Chael Sonnen said. He said that the right way to promote a fight is promote fights, not the title champion, you know. So that was interesting for me, and I think that's interesting because we follow the same model. We promote fights because in the end of the day, talent will show, and that's one thing you cannot hide, regardless of you can speak your language, English, or you can be marketable. It doesn't matter, you know. As long as you're a good fighter. We can have a Messi in MMA as well, who I don't even know how he sounds, but he's the best player, one of the best players in the world. I'm a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, but you know, but it is what it is. So we want to have that in MMA, where the athlete doesn't have to. We don't have to know how he sounds. As long as he has talent, he's got to be the best fighter, and that's what we're trying to put on. Great shows, great fights, for best fighters from around the world, get them together and showcase. It's time for you to prove who's the best, and you have your global exposure through Brave Combat Federation. So there you go.
Absolutely. And listen, your debut tomorrow night at the SSE Arena in Belfast, it's going to be a fantastic show, and if the fights that you have on, good fights. There's a lot of, like, obviously Norman Park and Miles Price. That's a fight that, you know, a lot of the Irish fans want to see.
Exactly.
And you have people like Decky Dalton, you have Andy Young back on the card, you know, you obviously Keane Cowley, Daniel Olenchek. That's a fight that everyone is keeping their eye on as well. So it's going to be a fantastic night tomorrow night, you know.
No, I'm super excited. It's time for them to showcase their talent, and it's time for them to say that we belong in Brave, and we deserve the global exposure, and there's nobody that can take that away from them. It's just about going out there and fighting. They don't need to do anything more than that. Just fight and show your talent. And it's not about winning, but it's about showing your heart and showing who you are as a person, and that's the most important thing. And people will see that through fighting, and there's no other sport in the world that can express yourself as much as fighting can do.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the Irish crowd as well. They definitely know how to bring it, especially a Belfast crowd, you know.
I'm super excited for that. That's the most important thing for me. I mean, there's a fight, there's Brave, there's all that stuff, but I'm going to sit down there. I'm going to be 2-3 hours early at the venue. I'm going to sit down just waiting to see when that crowd comes in and makes that noise. I'm super excited for them. I've heard so much about them. I've seen them on television. It's time for me to really feel them, and that's one of the things that I'm very excited about. Yeah,
you'll probably never be happy at an MMA show again once you've experienced an Irish crowd, because you'll be always like, where's the Irish crowd at every other show? But it's going to be fantastic. MMA Connect TV are very excited to be covering the show tomorrow night, so thank you very much.
We're glad to have you. We're glad to get all the support that you're giving, and that's also very important for Brave as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mohammed Shahid for MMA Connect TV.